you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years is Raymond Mark.
The sickest NHL podcast, brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you doing, Jimmy?
I'm great, and I'm very excited that we're going to be shortly talking to one and only Mark Chipman, Executive Chairman of and Governor of the Winnipeg Jets. Looking forward to that as they get their series underway in Winnipeg tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern start against the Dallas Stars. Game 1 there. Should be exciting. Just some quick news on that, Pierre. There's a lot of, they said game time decision, I guess, after the skate, but there's a lot of stuff on social now that Scheifele, Morrissey, and Stanley could return. So that could be huge for the Jets as they go into this game.
What about Dallas? Do they get Miro Heiskanen back?
That is still up in the air.
Do they get Robertson back?
Yeah, those could be huge additions and sway the series as well, Pierre. But I'll tell you what, we'll get to that series, obviously, with Mr. Chipman in a bit. But the one thing I like about this is the goalie matchup here. I'm really looking forward to two good American goalies, Ottinger and the one and only Connor Hellebuck going at it. Both goalies kind of shook some demons in the first round, and they're ready to go at it. I think we're going to have a goalies duel in game 1.
I'll let you say that.
Okay. You feeling the other way or no?
I just want to watch.
All right. You're just going to watch. All right. Well, I feel like we're going to have a really good game, a tight game as we go in there. But speaking of, let's look back to the games last night. Let's start with Carolina taking a 1-0 series lead with a 2-1 overtime victory of the Washington Capitals. Pierre, look, Carolina has kind of gotten a reputation to just, and it works for them at times, to just shoot, but never really get quality shots, right? Last night, they racked up the shots as they usually do, but a lot of them are also quality. And really, if not for Logan Thompson, I think the Washington Capitals would have got blown out of the building.
Logan Thompson in the goalpost and the crossbar. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
That maybe was, from start to finish, one of the worst games Washington's played this playoff season.
Mm-hmm.
And I give Carolina full credit because they didn't really have to play a tough series against New Jersey, but they came loaded for bear last night. Carolina was full value. They were fast. They were tenacious. They were disciplined. They were really smart on the forecheck. Their penalty killing was exquisite. I know they were number 1 during the regular season in the league. Their penalty killing was phenomenal. Freddie Anderson didn't have to do a lot, but when he did, he made some real good saves. It was still tied 1-1 when Ryan Leonard gets a breakaway in the third period. And I think, obviously a little bit nervous, and I think Anderson played him well. All that being said, if Washington's not better in game 2, then they've been posers for a while, because I do think they'll be a lot better. That's about as poorly as they could play. But I give credit. A lot of that credit goes to Carolina, how well they played.
If you were one of the assistants in charge of kind of reviewing the video from the Washington-Montreal series and pointing out areas where you could expose them, what would you have said? And do you think they did that in that game 1? Did you see anything?
I want to make sure I understand your question, because you're asking me about Washington playing Montreal. Do you mean as a Carolina assistant?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Carolina. Okay. Now I understand.
Yeah.
I would.
Montreal do anything to help out, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they did. I think they saw what Washington's tactics and tendencies are on the power play, and I think they were ready for that. I think they were really ready for what happens in faceoff situations, because Nick Dowd had a very tough night in faceoff situations last night. At one point, he was 0 for 10 before he won a faceoff at the tail end of the second period. But I'm telling you right now, Carolina was ready. Brenda Moore's team was ready. They dominated the neutral zone. They dominated the forecheck game. They dominated the special teams game. And I thought, even though Washington tried to rough them up, they didn't lay a glove on them. They didn't lay a glove on them last night.
It was a really well-executed game plan for Carolina, for sure. All right, looking at the other game, Pierre, look, I sent you that stat. Edmonton now has a record for comebacks in the third period in the playoffs. I mean, 5 straight. Like, this is unheard of, literally unheard of. There's something different about them. When we go all the way back to when they were down 0-2 to the LA Kings, I'm putting myself at the forefront here. I had written them off. I had said this is going to be a short series. I had picked the Kings in 5, and that was looking pretty good then. And I was confident it was going to happen, and it didn't. And the Oilers have shown a ton of resilience, Pierre. And you can't keep playing with fire. It's going to catch up to you sooner or later. But credit where it's due. They do not give up. What do you think is the key for a team like that when they fall back? What's going on the bench for them to stay in it like that?
They got star players that could break games open. Not a lot of guys. So let's just say, I don't know, Scheifele didn't play for Winnipeg. Morrissey didn't play for Winnipeg. Let's just say those 2 guys are out of the lineup, except their name are Draisaitl and McDavid. Mm-hmm. You think Edmonton's going to be that resilient and going to come back that much?
Good point. Well said.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's get real here. I talked to a lot of hockey people today.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen so many multiple goal lead situations in the NHL dissipate as fast as I've seen them this playoff season. And I have a theory on it. I said it to the one person that I spoke to this morning. He says, I agree with you. He says, more needs to be made of this. For the last 15 years, kids have been trained. It's all about points and metrics and numbers. And if you don't do this, you're not getting drafted. So the attention to everything is about offense, puck possession numbers, creating odd man run, all these different things. It's all offense, nothing to do with defense, 0. So now I'm watching games and I'm going, wait a second. It used to be when it was 2-0, that game was over. If you got to 3, boom, forget it. But mail it in and you're playing the next day for the next game because it's all this game's over. I've never seen anything like this. Vegas has a 2-0 lead last night, and they're giving up odd man rushes all over the ice.
Yep.
I mean, what's Shea Theodore doing on Connor Brown? Like trying to separate him from the puck and create a rush the other way?
I know.
I don't just blame the players. I blame the people that are cultivating the players.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is becoming an epidemic.
Yes. Pierre, again, we don't script this stuff, and it's funny you bring this up because I wasn't necessarily going to relate it directly to that game, but just in general, as you just did. So I'm listening to radio, run around today in the car, and I'm listening to some Boston sports radio, and they're talking about the Celtics in the NBA and how the same thing is happening in basketball now, where they're getting too heavy on the analytics, and it prevents them from adapting to changes in the game, changes of momentum, injuries, or fouls racking up and guys going to line. It doesn't allow them to sit back and think with their brain in the moment, as opposed to what they're programmed to do because of these analytics. And I'm thinking, I got to ask Pierre about that on the show today. I think that's happening on hockey right now. I think that they're so programmed that when the tide starts to turn, they can't adapt right away like they used to.
We agree.
That's what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And the other thing too is I keep hearing all the announcers, and I don't blame them at all. They're just relaying what they're hearing from coaches and players. The analytics, and this is exactly what they say. The analytics says, don't worry about the icing, go for the empty net. We talked about it with Scotty Bowman yesterday. He doesn't agree with that at all. And he likes numbers.
Yeah.
But he didn't agree with that number. It's like, that one, throw it away. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
And so I said to Jimmy today, earlier in the day, and I'm not saying it's his fault, but Pavel Buchnevich ices the puck. And he's probably being told, don't worry about it. I just go for the empty net. It's okay. Yep. So it's not on him. How many millions of dollars do you think that loss means to the ownership and the organization in St. Louis for not winning that game?
I don't know the number, but a lot.
I'm going to say tens of millions.
Wow. And just one mistake like that can be the difference. That's how thin the line is.
And that's why I'm giving Carolina full props. That's why I say if they don't do well, it's a referendum on analytics.
Yep.
The reason why I say that is because they've yet to get to the Stanley Cup final with this type of mentality of building. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it starts to do the numbers in terms of gates loss and season ticket revenue and merchandise sales.
Yes.
Start to do the math.
Yep. It's true. And, you look at, like I was saying earlier about the shot volume, right? Last night, it was more about purpose of the shot as opposed to just volume. It was whether I want to get in there and create a rebound, or do I see a touch pass in front, a shot pass in front. There was a lot more living in the moment, so to speak, Pierre, by the Carolina Hurricanes, which we don't always see because they are so programmed usually by analytics. So a great call by you there. And it was ironic that I heard that on the radio here because they were complaining about the Celtics, I guess. They blew a 20-point lead in game one against the Knicks. And one of the reasons they were pointed to was because they just kept trying 3-pointers because that's what the analytics tell them to do.
I don't know enough about basketball. Yes, I don't know enough about basketball. And no disrespect meant to their game. I just don't watch it. I watch hockey. There are too many games on. Jacob Fowler played last night. Jacob Fowler and Pascal Vincent beat Cleveland. They move on. Laval moves on. This is exactly what the Canadiens want. And I'm not trying to steer away, but I'm just trying to show you like how many games there are you got to keep up with. There was, there's East Coast Hockey League major upset. Orlando Solar Bears beat the Florida Everblades last night. So I mean, so I'm watching all this stuff. You know, and no disrespect meant to basketball. No. I read the articles. Yeah, and you're right on, Jimmy. Yeah, you're right on.
And I didn't watch the game either, but I'm just picturing it like you're just watching it. Why you keep doing that? It's not working. Just stop.
So I talked to this really high-profile hockey person this morning, and he's like, you know what? I'm with you. I don't get it. And so I told him my ideology of why I think it's happening more and more. He says, you know what? I think there's something to that. And I do. I'm not trying to look at it's not the players' fault. They do what they're trained to do.
Exactly. So,
I think we got to look at the model. All that being said, if you're a super elite coach, and most of these guys are, you're not coaching the NHL unless you're a real good coach. I don't care what anybody says. You're not. You got to be a real good coach to coach in the NHL.
Yeah.
But there's too many multiple goal leads being blown up, whether it's late in games, early in games. Think about when Jacques Lemaire coached New Jersey. Now, I know the red line was in. If they got a 2-0 lead on you, Jimmy, it was over.
Yep.
They had Brodeur in net. They had Stevens on defense. They had 4 lines running wild, including the crash line, with Holik and McKay and Peluso. They were just destroying people. Like, think about it. Neuendijk's there, Broughton's there. Start looking at all the different players they had there. Billy Guerin's there. I mean, Jimmy Dowd, just going over the old roster in my brain. They just said, sorry, once we get it's a race to 3 now. When the Devils played back then, it was a race to 2. Once they got to 2, it was over.
Yeah. With that trap and everything. Yeah.
It was over.
Here, you mentioned the goalie's name there, who's on top of the AHL right now. He is the talk of the town in the AHL, and it's a guy that you've been speaking about since last summer, really, since heading into the training camp for colleges and for the NHL. And that's Jacob Fowler, formerly of Boston College and a Montreal Canadiens prospect, and he has been superb for the Laval Rocket. They are now on to the 3rd round of the playoffs in the AHL playoffs. I know you're not surprised, Pierre, but it's interesting to see all these people now talking. Oh yeah, we knew he was going to be a star. We knew this was going to happen. Come on. And look, I'm not saying this because you're my friend and my co-host, but let's give credit where it's due. We were the first ones talking about this on here, and I'm happy to see it all come to fruition now on the ice for the Montreal Canadiens and the Laval Rocket.
Montreal's in good position going forward.
Oh my gosh.
The best news for our next guest is that they're in the Western Conference in the Central Division, so they don't have to play against Montreal just twice a year until the Stanley Cup final. So that's the good news for Mark Chipman.
So we'll get back to that in a bit about the Laval Rock and the Canadiens, but let's bring on the executive chairman and governor of the Winnipeg Jets right now, Mark Chipman, joining us here on the eye test. Hello, Mr. Chipman. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well. How are you guys doing today?
We're great, Mark. Thank you so much for doing this. Before Jimmy gets after the interrogation, I got to ask you, there's 4 minutes to go on the game. You're down 2 goals. What's the chairman of True North Sports thinking in the building?
I've been trying to process this one for a couple days, Pierre. Like, I can't tell you what I was thinking exactly. I ordinarily watch the game from the press box, but when Josh got hurt, I went down and I ended up spending the rest of the game just down at ice level and watching it with some of our guys. And I there were obviously you're down 2. You've been around this long enough. It's a deep hole that late, but there was this kind of eerie calm. And when we got the second one, when Vladdy scored the second one, I think there was a belief, that there was enough time. There was plenty of time, if we got possession. And then from there, I just thought our coaches did a phenomenal job of managing the last couple of minutes. So I can't tell you that I was ever really thought it was over. We just kind of just hung in and things unfolded the way they did.
It was magical to watch from afar.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now. And I'm so glad, Mark, that you brought up your coaches, because they thought they handled that really well from having watched it as a coach. And Davis Payne, I think, did a magnificent job. And I don't know if he's getting enough love. I know you're aware of it. He did a great job with the last 4 minutes of that game.
Well, he also, he's done a phenomenal job with our power play all year. We finished, I think we finished 4th overall last year, and with a power play that struggled all year long. And one of the differences, I believe, this year was the strength of our power play and our PK all year long. I mean, even that, the goal that Cole scored to make it 2-1. That you would know by watching that was a very structured setup play, and it's one thing to structure it, it's another thing to execute it as well as KC and Cole did to make it 2-1. And I think that goal was really that gave the team life, even though the Faxa goal late in the second could have been a backbreaker. When Cole got us on the board in the second, I think that gave the team a lot of life.
I want to ask you, going back to when they're down and as they come back, and then as they eventually win it, talk to us just about the temperature rising in terms of enthusiasm in the arena as opposed to what it was, before they started the comeback. Could you feel it?
Yeah, you can. I mean, the building is very unique, and you can't really even describe it unless you're in it. And what was remarkable, but not surprising to me, is just our fans are they're very intuitive, and even when we were down 2-0, they never let go. And I think our guys fed on that. We got through the first, and then our fans were very, very engaged in the second, and our guys fed off that. So there were some ebbs and flows, obviously there are, but it never goes away. It just never dissipates. It's never like people got their head in their hands. It's a real gift we have here with our fan base. They are and everybody says they got the greatest fans in the world, but I think we can make the claim they're amongst the very best. They're incredible, and not just in the building, but the entire building was surrounded. You could feel it, and so we're very fortunate to have that kind of support.
You know what? I'm going to say this now. Don't get embarrassed. They're very fortunate to have you. I've known you a long time, over 35 years, and you wear the Winnipeg stuff right on your heart and on your sleeve. I have to ask you, you give so much back to the community. What did the win mean to move on to the second round to the community? What did it mean to the fans?
Well, it's hard to put into words, and you can't feel it until you see the reaction after the fact, and the things that get shared with you after the fact, just pure joy that erupted. And I got somebody sent me a video of our premier and his son at the game. He had his phone captured the overtime goal, and you see our premier just losing his mind with his son,
That's awesome.
And then out on the street, he's with the mayor, and they're posting, tell your there's an official, provincial civic, post that you can tell your employer you don't have to come to work tomorrow or whatever. Like
Awesome.
everybody's like, it's just real authentic. It's like it's just real is what it is. It's real. And you know what I was so happy about, to be honest with you, is like one of the real regrets I've had in all these years is the year we finally beat the Oilers. Like the Winnipeg Jets and could never beat Edmonton in our 1.0 era, and the Jets had good teams in that stretch, but could never beat the Oilers. I was at that game when Dave Ellett scored, and looked like we were going to win it that year, and Oilers came back, beat us, won the Stanley Cup. Well, we finally beat them in a triple overtime game, dramatic win, and there's nobody in the building. Like it was people were driving around the building honking their horns, but it was heartbreaking that we finally got past the Oil and there was nobody there to enjoy it. So it felt like that game the other night had that game built into it as well. We got past the first round as we did it when we beat Edmonton, and I think there was just a lot of pent up passion the other night.
It was awesome to watch.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That team, as Pierre pointed out, it means so much to that community. When you took on this job, and still, I imagine to this day, it must have just been quite an honor to be able to be part of that and help give back to the community with whether it's with wins or other things that the team does, huh?
Honestly, I've been doing this a long time.
Long time.
I think I started with 30 years ago with the attempt to keep the team here when we lost them, and so it's been a really interesting journey. But I can tell you, like, it's a real privilege is what I wake up, even having been doing it for 29 years, I still wake up, guys, on most days and like, I can't believe I get to do this for a living. To run an NHL hockey team in a market like this, and to understand how much it means to people here and the good that it brings to this community. That's been the most gratifying part of this. I mean, obviously, we're all competitive and you do this because you're trying to win and win the ultimate prize. But to see the impact that this team has had in our city since it came back 14 years ago, to see the way our community has embraced our players and the way our players have embraced this community, the way the way Adam Lowry has managed this team and Blake before him, we just it's unique, and I know it is in a lot of communities, but we're kind of everything wrapped up into one. The Bombers have a big presence here too, but it's an awesome responsibility and one I don't take lightly.
Jimmy, the first time I met Mark, I was coaching the Hartford Whalers, and he was at the morning skate at the old Winnipeg Arena. And his passion just came right through. I'm on the ice in my skates, and he's on the bench. Like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So I always had this tremendous admiration for Mark Chipman back then. And he was with a legendary hockey person that day, Sherry Basson. I'll never forget, you were with Sherwood Basson that day.
Yep.
Awesome. Yep. I'll never forget that. I have one more for you. Let's just say, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Move on. Is it about the city now, Mark? Is it about the area, or is it about the province? How big does this become?
Well, I think it's the province for sure, and it's not just here because I mean we've got one thing about Winnipeg is there's a lot of Winnipeggers across this country, so like the other night, the texts came in from far and wide. There's a real passion for the team, for people that have, moved to Toronto, moved to Van, moved to Calgary, moved to the US. So it's, I think it goes beyond the borders for sure. But it certainly goes beyond the city of Winnipeg. This team belongs to this community. It's, we own it because somebody has to own it, but the team, the Winnipeg Jets, really belong to this province, and So it would be, and that's all. I mean, really, that's what I hope for is like I've been blessed beyond my understanding, guys. Like I've got more than I ever could have ever asked for in life. The real passion that I have, honestly, is for, that this could be enjoyed by our community. Have a good long run and just let them enjoy it.
See, Jimmy, I told you.
Yep,
He's an amazing man. I told you, Jimmy.
Obviously, a lot of the talk heading into that Game 7 was if Connor could get the monkey off his back and kind of silence some of the critics. How happy were you for him there? And when you watched that game, did you see it, as Pierre and I discussed this the other day, but did you see the progression of him throughout that game? Like it wasn't the best start, but his resilience and his ability to adapt, I think, is what got you guys to that point where you could come back.
Yeah, there's no question about that. He made some big stops when we were down 2-0. And Connor is he's a really, really mentally tough young man, and he's, I think you guys would know, like, you don't always know what's going on, and what guys have to are dealing with, and so, like, I'm just super proud of him, but what he's how he kept it together. And like, when you watch enough hockey, and you can just intuit where like, my father was a goaltender, a really good one, played for the Winnipeg Rangers, wouldn't let me play the position, thankfully, but I had I have a daughter that played NCAA hockey, and at that position, which was a nightmare, right? Like, so, like, what am I getting at here? I guess I pay attention to goaltending, and you can just tell with Connor, when he's quiet, when you can tell where he's at, when you know what I mean by that, when he's quiet.
Yeah, when he doesn't have happy feet, when he's anchored in the goal and he's big.
When he's anchored and he's just absorbing pucks, and you can tell when he's dialed. And I saw that in Game 7. I saw it in various stretches of the series, but I saw it in second period, beginning of the second period. He was the Connor Hellebuck that we've, that's probably going to win a third Vezina, and he gave us a chance to come back and win that game.
And Jimmy, you know what? I'm going to defer to Mr. Chipman on this too. Wade Flaherty is not a popular name. People don't know it around the league. Mark can speak to it. This guy's a really important part of what happens with their goaltending process.
Huge. Like Flats, like he played for us, Pierre, years ago. He played for us in our American League days, and just an unbelievable coach and human being, and he and Connor and have had a really, really unique relationship, and Eric Comrie as well. Like, the three of them together are something to watch. Like, you just imagine, like, just three goalies, like, doing anything, right? But just if you can ever get a chance to just listen in on what those guys are talking about, it's mind blowing. And but you're right, Pierre. Like, Flats has been a huge part of Connor's progression and success, and I know that Connor would agree with that.
So Jimmy, we're going to let Mr. Chipman go, but I just want to leave on this one. I can't wait to see you in Toronto. I don't want you to rush to get there for the Hall of Fame ballots. Keep winning, because nobody's having more fun than me watching it from afar. I'm so happy for you. As soon as your team wins, I'm always saying I'm just so happy for him, because I know what you've done to get your team to where they are. I know what you've done.
Well, I really appreciate that, Pierre. We're in we're in tough here. Like, Dallas is they got a complete team, and really extremely well run. Their owner cares deeply. They've done a phenomenal job down there. I'm really looking forward to this. I think should be a really good series for both fan bases and for the hockey world. Should be a great series.
I agree.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. A pleasure to meet you.
Anytime, guys.
Thank you
All right.
very much. Thanks for
Here he is right now.
Thank you.
Executive Chairman and Governor of the Winnipeg Jets, Mark Chipman, join us here. Pretty hard not to root for that guy, Pierre.
Like, again, I'm telling you, the first time I met him, I'm running a skate. Our team's playing well, too. We're playing real well. We started a road trip in Quebec. We won 2-1. We lost in Montreal. We got blown out. I made the guys practice the next day, 6:30 in the morning before we flew to Winnipeg. We won in Winnipeg. We lost in OT in Calgary. We won in Vancouver, and we won in Edmonton. But what I remember was him coming right up to me in the old Winnipeg arena with Sherry Basson, and Sherry's a good friend of mine at the time. And he says, "Hey, I want you to meet somebody." And it was Mark Chipman. And I said, "Look, I'm almost done practice. When I'm done, I'd love to talk to you." And we sat down, and I don't know, we probably had 3 or 4 cups of coffee at that time. And I stayed there for an extra hour. I let the bus go back to the hotel with the players because I was fascinated by his ideology, what he wanted to do with the team, because there was lots of rumors, obviously, Winnipeg was going to move.
Right.
And he wanted to keep the team. And, it wasn't going to happen at that point. But he had an idea, so he went through the IHL. They had a team there. Then they went through the American League.
Yep.
Then they finally found a way to get Atlanta, who was struggling, to come back. And he was a huge part of it. But his passion for his city, Jimmy, that's why I wanted him on. His passion for the city, his passion for the team, his passion for hockey. He's probably been on the Hall of Fame committee now, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years. And I can tell you, that's a hard committee because everybody's so intense.
Yeah.
He's so into it. He leaves no stone unturned. I really admire the man. That's why I was so happy when I reached out to him. I said, "Look, we're not going to ask you like FBI questions. We want to talk to you about your town. We want to talk to you about your city. We want to talk to you about your fans." I'm in. He says, "I'm in." Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great. And you could see, it oozes through him. Like you can feel
Oh,
it.
man, I'm telling you, it's huge. And I'm so glad. One of the best answers he gave is not just for the city of Winnipeg. It's for the province of Manitoba.
And Pierre, I remember when we had Dan Robinson on, not the last time, but the previous time, we discussed the TV reach of that team and how big it is, and the radio reach as well. Yeah. Just for our listeners that don't understand it, if you could expand on that, because that will show you how many people are cheering them on from afar.
So it's Thunder Bay West. So Thunder Bay's in Ontario, but it's in northwestern Ontario. Right. Then all the way to eastern Saskatchewan, and way up north in the eastern part of Saskatchewan, because the western part is all Oilers and Flames. And then it gets divided again, northern Saskatchewan, southern Saskatchewan. And then obviously you got the whole province of Manitoba, and you even have northern Minnesota and northern North Dakota. Well, people don't realize when North Dakota brings in recruits like from Canada, they fly to Winnipeg and then they take a car, and it's about an hour and a half from Winnipeg to Grand Forks, North Dakota. And University of North Dakota's had some really good players. Oh, yeah. And one of them is right from the city of Winnipeg. It's Jonathan Taves.
Exactly.
So look, I've been out there a lot. Mark and I are friends, but I'm so happy for them. I didn't think they would win that series. I'm not going to lie to you.
Neither did I.
I didn't think they were going to win it, but they did.
Yep. I know. And it would be, if they go on a run, there's still a lot.
If they get by. So this is a beast of a series to get through. Dallas is going to be tough. Say whatever you want. Dallas is going to be tough. And he knows it too. Yeah. He's not making that up. That's not.
That's not him just being polite.
He's not being politically correct there. He knows how hard it's going to be. If they get through that, I don't even know. I might even just call them up and say, hey, I need a couple tickets because I'm coming. No, because it'll be unbelievable there.
Tell them we'll do a podcast in there. If they get to the final, we do a podcast.
Forget the final. If they get to the Western final,
all right, let's do it.
I'll tell you right now, I'm all in to go, and I'll tell you why. It's for respect for him. How many owners would take the day after they won that game? I texted him early in the morning because you know what time I get up. I'm up early.
Oh, yeah.
And I text him, and about an hour later, I got a text from him.
Central time, by the way, too.
Yeah, and he's in Central. And about an hour later, I got a text from him saying, Pierre, what time? And I said, you tell me, but probably around 4:15 Eastern. He goes, I'm in.
It's awesome. It's great stuff. And just,
that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
This is a man that cares.
It's
You hear
just
about all these other owners that just are in it for the money. This
Yeah.
guy cares about his community.
Yeah. And for fans that don't understand, like getting an interview with a coach or a player, let alone an owner, like just on a game day in the middle of a playoff run. I mean, that's tough to do. And for him to be that receptive to it and want to do it so badly just shows you what he's about.
He's an amazing man. I'm just telling you, like we had Craig Leopold came on this show. He was amazing from Minnesota. Yeah. Like we've had some really cool owners come on this show. But Minnesota's one thing. They're in a big, like they got two cities. They got St. Paul and Minneapolis. Like it's big.
And it's the state of hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. Winnipeg's not as big, but you know what? Like the passion for hockey in Winnipeg is pretty substantial.
But Pierre, that's what's great, right? When you have a smaller city, right? We're so used, I'm here in the Northeast. I'm used to New York City, Boston, whatever, Washington, D.C. But when you get a smaller city like that and is really, you mentioned they have the Blue Bombers. I'm not going to exclude them, but it's just the Jets and them. I don't know if I'm wrong in saying this. It just sometimes it seems like it means more to that city, right? Because it's almost like you're a town or it's just more community. If I'm trying to convey that.
No, you're right on. No, you're right. No, that's well said. That's good, Jimmy. I remember
part of the fabric.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the fact. Well, hockey's huge in Manitoba.
Right.
Like people, I've been to the different little small parts of it, whether it's Flin Flon, whether it's Brandon, I've been to some different parts of their province and, Flin Flon's north, like it's not around the corner. It's pretty north. I've been to the PA and it's spelled PAS. It's not PAWS. It's PAS, the PA. So I've been at some different places there. I have a ton of respect for the people there, and Mr. Chipman's exhibit A of what I've been talking about with people in hockey that really care about their community. He's exhibit A. He's exhibit A.
Wish every owner could be like that. Definitely great stuff there. Yep. Thank you to him, and good luck to the Winnipeg Jets in their series. Pierre, the other game that's on tonight, let's talk about it. It's another game two, excuse me. The Florida Panthers and Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm here, I've been hearing various things going on with Anthony Stolarz.
He's not playing tonight. He's not.
Yeah, he's not playing tonight. I had a very reliable source tell me last night he's out until at least game 5. But now I'm seeing things from some credible sources on social that he's not coming back this series. And that, you know what? He can take as much time as he wants. I just want him to get healthy.
Yeah. So there's a few things there. I agree with the last part of what you said. Very good. Very good what you said. I don't believe anybody when it comes to injury reports because I've been part of disinformation.
Same thing.
I can tell you right now, I've been part of disinformation campaigns, one starting it and also being used in it.
Well, I'm going to say two for the first thing you just said there. So 2 things I don't believe any of this, and I'm just going to ride it and see where it goes, is because of what you just said. From being in the NHL as a coach and the management, the teams are very coy about the injuries, almost to the point where they will mislead. They want to mislead the opponent and catch them off guard, maybe with an earlier return, who knows, to pump up their team, just stuff like that. So you always got to keep that and take it with a grain of salt. And then the other thing, Pierre, like I'm saying, it's a concussion. There's no more inexact injury recovery time than a concussion. So when somebody says, oh, well, he'll be back game 5, like, you don't know that. The only one that knows that is his brain. Like, to be honest,
nobody knows that. So my greatest advice, and I used to say this to all the people I work with on TV, don't pay it, and not the analysts or they knew. It's the people in the truck, the people that are building all these video packages.
Day by day.
Just go day by day. Don't think it too much. You don't know. Don't believe anything you hear. Just day by day.
So on that note, Pierre, let's talk about the goalie that will be in there who replaced him in game 1, Joseph Woll, former Boston College netminder. A lot of people I'm seeing, whether it's media or fans, kind of writing him off a bit already, picking Florida to win game 2 and now switching their picks for the series. And because they said Joseph Woll is too inconsistent, he can't handle it. And I say, let's pump the brakes a bit, because if I recall, Pierre, a certain Toronto Maple Leafs team was down 3-1 to the Boston Bruins in the first round last year, and Joseph Woll came in and won 2 straight And for some unknown reason, I don't remember what the exact reason was given, but I remember being stunned that he wasn't the starter in game 7 up until pretty much game time. Everyone thought he was going to start, and instead it was Samsonov. He helped get them back in that series. And I think people have a short memory when they're writing him off so fast here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to come down to goaltending in this series. I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Toronto goes over for the power play again, that's going to be an issue. Mm-hmm. They've got to get that power play going because Florida's going to take penalties, and you got to make them pay. You have, if you're Toronto. If you're not Toronto and you're Florida, you're like, good, their power play is no good, and we're going to score shorthanded. We're going to take all the momentum away from them, especially in their building. Important for the power play for Toronto. That's one thing that needs to be better from game 1. Second thing that needs to be better, they cannot get involved in post-whistle scrums. Cannot. Bingo. Stop it. Just get out of there. And the third thing, and this is really important, take whatever you did in the first period of game number 1, because it was really good.
Yep.
Take that and put it into 60 minutes of game 2.
Yep.
So let's just say it's only 55 minutes. That's good. If it's 50, you're good too. Can't be less than 50. But let's just say take it and add 40 minutes to whatever you did in game 1.
Yep. And one of the biggest things I thought that they did in game 1 that you advised them to do on the eye test before the game, Pierre, was get that puck the heck out of Dodge when you're in your own zone. Don't give Florida any time to bear down on you because they will eat you up. And they did that. They did that a lot. And they also, as you said, they cycled well as well. So if they can continue, exactly, take that first period as your model and execute it for a much longer time. All right, let's get to our sponsors, TCS Customs and Logistics. Unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics from around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For no obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast@shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast@shiptcs.com. And of course, our wonderful friends at Betway, where you can still go all the way with Betway and get up to $200 back on your first bet if it loses. Again, it's only available for new customers. So if you're not a customer yet, go right there to that QR code in front of you if you're watching, or go to the details section at the website if you're not, and sign up for your new account and redeem the welcome offer. The offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 plus. Always bet responsibly. Let's go to my sick picks of the night.
It's time for Sick Picks, brought to you by Betway.
All right, Pierre, I've got 3 picks tonight. We're going to go in the Maple Leafs and Panthers game 2. Doing a little prop here for you folks because he has been playing great. He's become a key part of the top 6 over the last couple of games for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that is former Montreal Canadian captain, ironically, Max Pacioretty has been great, really filtering into the lineup nice since coming back from an injury. You can still get him to get 1 point. That's it, just 1 point, and he's on a 3-game point streak right now at plus 150. So that's Max Pacioretty at plus 150. And then in the second game of the night, the Jets game that we just discussed with Mr. Chipman, I like the Jets on the money line to win. They are plus 105, and I like the under 5.5. That is even money. That means the game must stay under 6 total goals. I'm feeling like a 3-2 Winnipeg Jets win. All right, let's get to our Q&A. What do we got? Chris TV, question for Pierre. I've watched some highlights of Roger McQueen. No relation to the old actor Steve. The big 6'5" right-hand center, showing my age there, Pierre. You didn't think I knew who I knew he was. Does he have the potential to be a top center in the NHL? He reminds me of Mario Lemieux in some highlights. Whoa.
He has a potential to be a very good player in the National Hockey League, and I think he will be a very good player in the National Hockey League. He will not be Mario Lemieux.
No, there's only one Mario Lemieux.
But Mario would take that as a compliment. But I will tell you, from having had a really good seat for Mario's exploits for a few years, he will not be Mario.
Yep. I'll tell the Bruins fans out there too. It has been reported Don Sweeney has scouted him 3 times already.
Can you guys just stop?
They're getting excited here. I'm trying to help those Ports fans right now. Sorry.
Stop this. You know how many times they're tracking how many times. So what happens if he watches them on tape 20 times? Like,
It's
can you
hilarious.
people stop this?
I know. All right, let's get to the next question. What do we got? Juice _031017. How great is it that Jeff Gorton is staying in Montreal? The Islanders have reportedly had interest in speaking with him. Yes, that is correct.
So did Columbus last year too, and they said no. So
Yeah.
I don't know why this is a foreign concept.
I don't either, Pierre. And it's pretty evident that he wants to stick around and finish what he started
When
there.
you work, listen, Jimmy, when you work for the Molson family, it's not like you're working for neophyte ownership group in the National Hockey. You're working for an original 6 team who's got a worldwide brand, and you're putting it together. And if they ever won the cup again, see you later, alligator. Like, life's going to be a bowl of cherries, and there'll be no pits, man. It's going to be amazing. So he's got great working relationship. He's got an amazing workplace environment to go to. He really likes the man he works with because they're a true partnership. There are a lot of partnerships that are supposed to be partnerships. They don't become that. They have a real one in Hughes and Gorton, and St. Louis part of that as well. So no, I'm not surprised that Montreal said no.
Yeah, as you said earlier before we brought Mr. Chipman on too, Pierre, the Canadians, look at that future right now. You know, I'm watching the highlights this morning of Laval, and I'm just looking at other teams, thinking about other teams in the Atlantic Division. I'm like, whoo, watch out.
Yeah, but the showdown's their next showdown's with Rochester. It's a heck of a showdown. It's Northeastern versus BC. It's Devon Levi versus Jacob Fowler. So that's going to be interesting.
By the way, Pierre, do you not remember a certain podcast suggesting the Buffalo Sabres put him back in Rochester and don't?
Yeah, I think there was one that said that. Mm-hmm.
And Sabres fans thought we were a little nuts, but here you are. It's the best thing that could have happened.
I guess they're all in love with it now.
Yep.
He's playing, and all the other guys are golfing.
Exactly. All right, next question. The Sedita 17. Eric Stahl named a special assistant to the GM in Buffalo earlier today. Yep, Kevin Adams' former teammate from the Carolina Hurricanes. Curious to know if adding him helps them on their trek towards relevancy. Canes fan here. Wish Stahl the best.
Yeah, it can't hurt them. Eric's a really good hockey man. He had a really dignified and distinguished career. You know the family well. Know Eric. Good hockey person. I think he'll help. Can't hurt at all.
I'm glad the viewer brought up the Sabres here, Pierre, because actually it's one thing I wanted to ask you about a player on the Sabres who supposedly it looks like he's going to get traded again. It would be like the second time, I think, in the last 3 years. Bo Byram, the defenseman in Buffalo, apparently sold his property up there. He's telling people, Andrew Peters reported yesterday, he feels like he's going to be dealt. What's happened with that defenseman there, with that player?
Yeah, he had concussion issues. He had some issues with injury. I think his decision making was a little flawed because he's played for a bunch of different coaches.
Yeah.
So, play for a lot of coaches. There are different ideologies. As a young player, kind of rushed in the league a little bit. I saw him play junior. He was really good.
Yeah,
I was coaching when his dad was playing, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Islanders organization. He's a talented kid. I wouldn't write him off.
No, I wouldn't either.
It's like I still don't. And you know what I think of Josh Norris.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of Josh Norris, but I still, for the life of me, don't understand the rush to trade Dylan Cousins to a division opponent who you're going to be battling with for a playoff spot.
Off injured.
And Josh has just had terrible luck with injuries with his shoulder. Just terrible luck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pierre, he had something like 33 points or something, and he was a plus 11 on a not so great defensive team. He's still got something. I think he'd be worth a flyer for a team for sure. All right, next question. Bill Van Vagel, how much ice time would you expect Crosby and McKinnon to get at the World?
As much as they want, Bill. They can go to the coach and say, you know what?
We're going to play the whole game.
We had a long night in Old Stockholm. We're not going to the game today. And Old Stockholm's fun. Trust me. The old town in Stockholm, there's a lot of good places to go. And this is a beautiful time of the year to be there. They'll play a fair bit. I think they want to lead by example. I really do. And, Sid hadn't played a playoff game in 3 years. This is his playoff. These are his playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next question. Arild from Norway. Kagastad, Norwegian Hockey Mafia here. Question for Pierre. How do you think Philip Helander will do in his return to Pittsburgh? He had a great SHL season with Timrå under head coach Olli Jokinen.
Yeah, Olli. I've known Olli a long time, going back to when he played for IFK Helsinki. And Jarmo Kekalainen was the general manager there. I think he'll do well. I think everything's kind of a work in progress in Pittsburgh right now. I think everything is a significant work in progress. They still don't have a coach. Kyle Dubas is working over at the World Championships. I don't know where Jason Spetz is because Wheeling and Wilkes-Barre are both eliminated from playoff contention. So I don't know where Jason is, but I think any player that has a good summer will have a legitimate chance to have an opportunity to play there. They're in a different locale right now, Pittsburgh, because of, I think they're in a rebuild. I think they're in a rebuild.
All right. I've been alerted. We have 18 questions left, so we're going to do rapid fire here. Let's rock and roll. Next one.
Go.
Alex Ivanowski. Pierre, I heard you talk about the Rangers yesterday. I feel like that organization internally is arrogant for only winning one cup since 1994. I don't say that as disrespect to the fans. Do you agree?
I don't think they're arrogant. I think I've known a lot of good people that have worked there, especially in the scouting department. I know a lot of good people that were trainers there. Jim Ramsey forever. He's in Montreal now. He's not arrogant. He's one of the best trainers in hockey. He's an amazing gentleman. Cass Martz is their equipment guy. I couldn't say enough good things about him. I don't think they're arrogant. I know a lot of their guys that working down in Hartford too. They're really good people. So no, I don't think they're arrogant. I just think that they've made some decisions that have been flawed. And what I don't like about them has nothing to do with arrogance. I don't like leaking. Don't like leaking. I never did like leaking. And they ruined their team this year because they leaked last summer. They did.
Yeah, I know. And I've got a bad feeling it's going to happen again, Pierre. I do.
I don't know. I can't say that because here's what I do know. Mike Sullivan's a pro. And he's a tough guy. Yeah. And if you don't play ball the way Mike wants to, somebody's feathers are going to get stepped on.
All right. Next question. Big guy from the League of Copycats. What will be the early needs, wants of teams out of the playoffs from contending teams? How will they get there?
Well, I think a lot of people are seeing size matters. Montreal's talking about it. I think all the teams that missed, they'll say, you know what, we need to get bigger. We need to get snarly. We need to get a little tougher on the back end. I also think one of the things I talked about with Jimmy before, I think you need to deploy different strategies. I think you got to remake how you develop your players. Too much emphasis on scoring and stick handling and not enough on passing, pass receiving, and defending leads. And I personally think if you want to do a copycat league, you got to copy what the best teams in the league do. And one of the best teams right now, Jimmy, is Carolina.
Yep.
Just telling you right now. And look, I told you it's a referendum on analytics. But I also will tell you their coaching staff has them as prepared or better prepared than anybody that's playing right now.
And they're mixing and matching analytics versus eye test a little
more.
Well,
Brendan Moore's more of an eye test guy, and management's more of analytics. That's fine. That's good, actually.
It looks like they've found the balance.
I think that's good. You watch their penalty kill, and you watch their entries on the power play. No team in the league can do both those things better than Carolina.
Yeah.
By the way, their power play is better than anybody else. But no team in the league has better entries, and no team in the league has better penalty killing than them. No team.
By the way, I just want to say Mr. Chipman just texted me. He said, thanks for having me on. Of course, our pleasure. Also said I was watching after you guys were talking about Laval, and I forgot to tell you, I think Pascal Vincent is the best coach not in the NHL right now.
Because he coached for him in Winnipeg.
Manitoba, too, right?
Well, it is. Yeah. Winnipeg. Yeah.
The Moose, I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He coached for his farm team. They own that team.
Yeah. So that was nice of him to say there and point that out. All right, good topic there. Let's go. What do we got? Ron LaRoque, now that Montreal is out, couldn't Laval play at the Bell Center to boost their revenue if the arena is available? I realize Laval is 1 hour away from Montreal.
I would never do that to my fans in Laval because you got to think long-term, have a big perspective on it. The other thing, too, is I'm going to bet because what people don't talk about there's a company called Eventco. Eventco's owned by the Molson family and the shareholders of the Canadians. Eventco runs boxing shows, concerts, numerous different things, ice shows. So I'm going to say that building's booked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I would never want to alienate my fan. I've been to tons of games in Laval, and I broadcast games from Laval. They have an amazing built-in infrastructure of fans. I would never want them to say, we're hi-hatting you. We're going to make you drive to Montreal.
Yeah.
No way. I would never do that.
Especially they just stuck with them to this point, and
That's
now
what I
you're
mean.
this deep, you know.
Yeah.
But one thing, maybe in the exhibition season, Pierre, could you ever see them doing that? Just do an exhibition game there?
No.
But it's so close. So
I know, but I wouldn't do that.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like, why would you?
No.
Right there.
Here's what I want to see. I want to see a ladies college hockey tournament played in Laval.
Ooh.
4 teams. I want 4 teams to go there. I've already talked to our good friend, Commissioner Doug Christensen from the ECAC, which is the best female hockey conference. I want to see 4 teams play a weekend tournament surrounded by a Laval Rocket weekend series of games.
Sounds good to me.
Make it a celebration of women and men's hockey.
All right. Next question. Bill Van Vagel. I heard Tony Marinello suggest the Habs should let Arbor Jackeye stay as he, instead of trying to refine him. He said nothing wrong with a Dave Manson type on defense. Thoughts?
Arbor Jackeye's not Dave Manson. Just telling you, Dave Manson was a hell of a player. Yeah. Arbor's gonna be a very good player, but he's never gonna be Dave Manson. Norm McIver and Dave Manson together in Edmonton and Winnipeg were unbelievable. Just telling you right now. So I wouldn't do that comparable, but Tony's not wrong. You need Arbor Jackeyes. You need nuclear deterrence. Tony's right about that. 100% right about that. But I personally wouldn't use a Dave Manson comparable myself.
Okay. All right. Next question. Gabriel Lamb, what do you think of the Sabres bringing in Stahl?
Solid. No, he's solid. Gabriel's good. He's a hockey man. He doesn't have any experience running a team, but he's got a lot of experience being part of really good teams. He's been around a lot of really good coaches. He's played in some significant hockey environments. And the truth of the matter is he's a Stanley Cup champion. That brings a lot of street cred.
Yep. All right. Next question. Zahal, what does the future hold for Columbus goaltending, more specifically with Daniel Tarasev now that Greaves is looking to stay in the NHL full-time next season? Great point, Zahal.
All good, really good points. I don't know what the Columbus goaltending situation is going to be long-term, but Jet Graves is somebody that definitely merits an opportunity. He was great down the stretch for him. I think everybody knows, but he just got out-dueled by Jacob Fowler.
Yep. Wasn't his fault. No.
I mean, that's just what happened. So,
all right, next question. Juice _031-017. How tough of a test will the Rochester Americans be for the Laval Rocket in the next round?
Very tough because they can match up in the goaltending position. Levi's really good. I think long-term Fowler will be better, but Levi's a Montreal kid, grew up on the West Island, so he's going to come back. He's going to be wanting to show his family and friends that he's got game. They've got some veteran players, especially in the back end. Eric Brandstrom's playing in Rochester. People don't even know that. Like he's a heck of a player, you know. Yeah. And he's a great kid. He's a great kid. They got good players there. I think it'll be a tough matchup. Montreal's got more firepower than Rochester.
All right. Next question. Renaissance Resistor. If you're Hugo, are you staying put at 16-17, moving up, or packaging the picks for ready or soon to be 2C? Thank you.
Depends what that. Great question, by the way.
Yep.
Depends what the price point is for a 2C. And are you looking for a 200-foot player? Are you looking for a point producer? They're all a little different, you know. So I think that's going to be the big question. I wouldn't be afraid to do anything right now. No, I mean, I'd be proactive. If you find the player you like, what's the price point, and go do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many options they could go with there with the Arsenal team. So, all right, next question. Bill Van Vagel, how much does a draft eligible player's playoff run help versus a player on a team that didn't make the playoffs? How much is postseason success a draft factor?
It is a big part of it. And if you don't do well in the playoffs and you're at U18 and you get a chance to go represent your country, that helps as well. Mm-hmm. That's how Kakaniemi ended up going 3rd overall. That's because he had a big tournament at the U18 in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I saw Carey Price play in the 05 U18. And there were parts of that tournament where you're like, whoa, this guy's off the charts. Like, he's crazy good. And there are other parts saying, oh, my gosh, what's he doing? Like, I don't know how good this guy's going to be. And Montreal, to their credit, figured it out. But by figuring it out, and Carey was great, don't get me wrong. At the time when they drafted Carey, their number one organizational need was a big centerman that could dominate the ice. They left Anse Kopitar on the board, and they took Carey Price. Now, it worked out for both guys. It did. But you wonder, would Montreal have been different long term? Because you saw what happened in 2010, Halak.
Yep.
You know, so I don't know, but it's fun to play those games. I just would say this is that, you know, you got to be careful when you're picking players. You got to be long term. You can't think short. You got to think long.
All right. But recency bias does affect things for sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Randy Workman, Jimmy and Pierre, is Chris Draper a good fit for the Islanders? Ooh, I never thought about
Drapes would be really good anywhere.
Yeah.
Drapes is great. You know, he's been an amateur scout. He has had no experience working with contracts or negotiations. He was represented by Donnie Meehan and Patrick Morris, so I'm sure he could talk with them when it comes to the art of negotiation or hiring an assistant GM that knows what he's talking about and doing. Chris would be a good fit. I keep hearing Kenny Holland's name. I mean, I haven't spoken to Kenny, but I keep hearing Kenny's name. The last time I talked to Kenny, he was on our show.
Yes, great.
So, but I think there's a couple. I think Jarmo Kekalainen's name is in there too.
Yeah, he is. And speaking of the Islanders, we'll be able to ask a lot of those questions about the GM search tomorrow. We have our good friend Chris Botta will be joining us here at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully he can answer some of that for you. All right, next question. LBMB23. Pierre, I haven't seen anybody compare Gooley to Vegas number 3. That would be Brady McNabb. Don't you think they are really similar?
No, Gooley's way better.
Wow.
Gooley's a better skater. Gooley handles the puck better, and Gooley can get more offense. McNabb is a good player, though. He was another one of those Kelly McCrimmon specials, Western Hockey League guy who we knew really well.
Yep.
But he's a good player. I think Gooley's got more upside.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next question. Arild Kagastad. Question for Pierre. Does Ole Holm out of Cleveland have NHL potential? By the way, Shampoo's nephew.
Espen
Knudsen, I remember. Mikkel Eriksson is draft eligible this summer. Knudsen coached him, Brandon Nygaard, and Solberg in Valorena. I don't know
what? I've only seen Holm on TV. I haven't seen him live. So it'd be unfair for me to say, yeah, he could do it, or no, he can't. I'd like to see him live before I say that. But I'm so happy the Norwegians are starting to pump players out. That's good. That's really good.
We're happy to have the Norwegian fans. All right, next question. Bill Van Vagel, in the NHL, how much do teams value player traits versus production? Does a player with great speed, a defensive acumen, trump pure goal-scoring prowess shown in junior?
I don't know. I think Bill, if you answer this one, you can text it to Jimmy. Are you referring to Jet Luchenko, the draft pick of the Philadelphia Flyers? I don't know. He's had a pretty good run in Lehigh Valley right now. He'll probably be on their roster next year in Philly. I don't know. Like I saw stuff this spring. I'll give you an example because it hits close to home where, I know kids that went and played pro hockey and there were question marks about certain parts of their game. They get to pro hockey and all of a sudden people are like, well, I didn't know he could do that. Or I didn't know that player could do this. And I'm like, yeah, you know why? Because you guys have too small a sample size. Mm-hmm. And not everybody's going to play an A game every night.
Right.
So you might have been there to catch the guy when he was playing a D game. And so you kind of wrote him off. And then you see him in the pros and you're like, oh, I didn't know that guy was that tough. Or, oh, I didn't know that guy was that good with the puck. Or I didn't know that guy was that fast. So you got to be careful when you're doing all that. You got to see a lot of viewings. That's why, no disrespect to any of these online scouting people, but I don't know how much they're getting out to watch players. Like how they doing their intel? Who's paying them to go do that?
Yeah. I think unfortunately since COVID, Pierre, there's been too much reliance on video. That's the problem. We'll see. All right. Next question. Juice _031017. Pierre, how good of a job has Benoit Gruel done this year in the K, leading Chelyabinsk to the KHL finals?
Chelyabinsk. So it's a great story. I watched Benny coach in Gatineau, watched Benny coach in the American Hockey League in Syracuse a lot. World Junior as well. big fan of Benoit. I was talking to somebody about Benny maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It looked like he was trending in a positive way in Chelyabinsk. So I'm really happy for him. He's done a great job. He's a very good coach. He's a really good coach. He's a really good coach.
All right, next question. Ron LaRoque, how about Gavin McKenna with 35 points and 13?
Wait a second.
Woo! Crazy. Washington's pick Cristal at 37 points in 14 games.
Yeah. No, my son was, so to be transparent, my son was in camp with Andrew Crystal last year in Washington. So Brian knows him. Really good offensive player. But Jimmy, we've been talking about Gavin McKenna before people even knew how to spell his name. Come on.
Yeah. This is he's going to be something. I'm telling you. All right, 4 more questions. What do we got? Habwild, do you think the Canadiens window opens when Farley comes to the NHL as the starter?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because by then, Ryan Backer will be ready. Mayu will be ready.
Yep.
Hage might be here or might not be here. We'll know where they are with Joshua Roy. You're going to know where they are with a bunch of guys, where they are with Tuck, where they are with Fabian, Jack Eye. There's a lot. They got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of stuff.
Not to just mention what's already there, and what they just did. So, yeah, it's a good situation. All right, next question. Ronald McDonald. Question, do you still think Joe Quenneville will be coach of the Ducks?
I can't believe it's taking this long.
Now, to be honest.
I thought it would have been done. And so I don't know what's going on there in Anaheim. I do know that they have great ownership. I know they got great young players. Joel will be a good fit. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe Joel goes to – I don't know. Maybe he goes to Pittsburgh. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. All I can say is this.
What else opens up?
If he doesn't get a job.
I think he gets one this time, Pierre.
If he doesn't, something's really wrong.
Pretty obvious.
Something's really wrong. That's all I'm going to say.
No, he's coming away with one. I'm convinced. All right, next question. Renaissance Resistor, given what you've seen so far this postseason, who do you have in your revised final?
Well, all right, I can tell you straight up, I had Colorado playing Toronto in the final. So I got to fix the West.
Yep.
It's hard for me to think that Dallas isn't going to go far. They beat Colorado. I still can't believe they did, and I don't think they can believe they did. Think about it. The 3 overtime games, I still don't know what Colorado was doing in the third period the other night. I just what are you guys doing?
I don't know. I can't say, but I won't lie. And the TV people in the States aren't going to like this. Give me an all-Canadian final, whether it's Toronto-Winnipeg or Toronto-Edmonton. I would love to see it. I think it would be something. I know it won't be good for ratings down here, but.
Oh, Jimmy, please don't do that. You're going to alienate all these people. No, Jimmy apologizes in advance. He misspoke.
Yeah, I know. But I do want to. I would like to see Winnipeg go on a run.
I would like to see Winnipeg too, but
yeah. But we'll see. We'll see.
Jimmy, just say, I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did apologize.
Okay, good. That's good. You did. See, Jimmy apologized. That's good. Good job.
I let off with the apology, Pierre.
I don't want people mad at you. Let them be mad at me. I don't want them mad at you.
This one's on me. Do not get mad at Pierre. I made that mistake. All right, next question. Will Van Vagel, gentlemen, what is your favorite hockey-themed movie? I have to go with Slapshot, but Youngblood is strong also.
Hey, does Love Story count?
Yeah.
Does Love Story, I'm going to say Slapshot, because when you are in the minors, like I had a chance to be, you watch a lot of movies. So you watch Slapshot a lot. I watch Youngblood. But Love Story with Ryan O'Neal.
Yeah.
Come on.
Good. That was
he
good.
He was a hockey player at Harvard.
Yep. Miracle.
Ollie McGraw was his girl. She was smoking. Come on.
I liked Miracle. That was pretty good.
Miracle was good.
Yeah.
I kind of I got soft, Jimmy. I got soft and taking Love Story.
It's all right, man. All right.
My wife's gonna come and smoke me. So
yeah. Well, you did see the Amateur the other day. That's definitely.
I did see the Amateur. Melanie and I had a movie date, which I don't even know the last time we did that. It was good.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
enjoyed it.
Myself.
No popcorn. No, I was a cheap date. No popcorn.
Popcorn. Popcorn's expensive these days. All right. What? One more. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Oh, that's it. Sammy says that's it. And by the way,
Sammy
so
doesn't want to
happy
work.
Sammy,
Sammy's mailing it in.
I'm happy Sammy's back there on the boards with Aniello today. Good to have them there. We appreciate all they do. Thanks to you guys, the viewers and the listeners, and of course to Mr. Chipman for joining us as a guest. Again,
he was great.
He was great. He was awesome.
He was really good.
Chris Bottom, talk some Islanders.
Chris Bottas tomorrow. Thank you. Chris
Friday
Bottas
TV.
tomorrow.
I'm waiting on a guest for Friday. I'll let you know.
We might go guest free Friday because we might have there could be some, you and I'll talk later. There could be some stuff percolating.
Good. We should see.
We may need some time on Friday.
Yep. I like teeing up the weekend too with you and all the games.
Yeah, I think we might have some breaking stuff. We'll see.
All right. Interesting.
I can't tell you because then you're going to go on that social media thing and get in trouble again.
Oh no, I'll write a story and make $300 on RG. That sounds better. All right. Listen, thanks to everyone out there. We appreciate you listening. We'll talk to you here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.